I have voluntarily worked with 12, 13, 14-year-olds, 10, 11-year-olds for the last 42 years.
Sorry.
And I have enjoyed every minute of it, and I'm as passionate about it now, looking forward to who I have coming into my class in September, as I was the very first class I walked into. I love the career choice that I took because it's so exciting. And every now and again, as a teacher, you get to see somebody you taught, like Emily, stand up and open herself like she did tonight. And well done, Emily. Because somewhere deep down there I'm thinking, maybe I gave her a lesson on speeches once and she listened. Or at least writing them. But she was right about everything she said. I remembered everything, Emily, when she said, 2 weeks, I'm organised ahead. Yeah, she was. She was actually sort of 2 weeks ahead of me most of the time. Okay, so as a teacher, and I wanted to talk now because we're in this happy, not mentioning politics period where the contracts are up for negotiations. And I don't want to talk anything about the politics because my focus is on kids. But one of the things that I hear, and the first thing I want you to do is I want you to think back. Jeff asked you to do it before. Can you name a teacher in your life that had an impact on you? And that impact may not have been a good one. It could have been negative. Is there somebody that was a make or break for you? Because if you have been in any school with good teachers anywhere, somebody did. And the biggest evidence that's coming out at the moment of our role with our students is the evidence of the one caring adult and what that can do to make the difference in a child. But it's a really weird job. You take anywhere between 20 and I've had up to 45 kids, you jam them in a room. You put them all in desks and you can have them in rows or groups and you can move them around if you want. And you stick them together for 40 weeks and you teach them and everything. You are going to teach them to socialise, you're going to teach them to behave, you're going to teach them math, you're going to teach them to write, you're going to teach them to read, and because we're all brilliant, we're going to do it well, and they'll all come out brilliant at the end. Okay, so that doesn't happen. But you know what it's like. And it's a very, very artificial environment. But the other thing that's really, really difficult about teaching is that every single person in this room has been to school. Therefore, when I meet parents, often the parents are experts in teaching because they were at school too. How many of you don't have to put up your hand, how many of you have ever walked into a school to an interview with your children or anything like that in the past thinking, yes, well, I remember when I was at school and you should be doing this and that. Is it familiar? Think about it. There are not many jobs where you come out and everybody has been in school. And you haven't just been in school once. You were jammed in school for 10, 12, 14 years. And you were in there, boom, boom, boom. You were lined up. You walked with your hand like that and you think, who remembers that one? That's called socialization training. There's a name for it. The psychologists have it. And of course, there's always the 3 boys at the end that don't get it. That's why socialization training isn't really the be-all and end-all when you're doing education, because you just watch the 3 boys at the end that don't get it. You are given kids. Every year I get a group of kids. I followed a thread on Twitter recently where a woman publicly left teaching. I'm not sure whether it was here or in the US, but she very publicly left. And her reason for leaving teaching was because parents are irresponsible these days and they don't know how to bring up their kids. And I followed the thread for a few days because I was just fascinated by the different comments that were coming in. Quite frankly, I don't care what you are. You're parents. And if you put a child into my class, then you're giving me, as one of my principals used to say, I used to work in an independent school, so the principal used to say, the parents are giving you 2 things they value most, their children and their money. You better appreciate that. That's what the kids are to me. And in a school, by law, I am in the place of the parent. I am in loci parenti, so I am the parent. So when I was in independent schools and parents were paying fees, so they had to pay for the kids to come to school in Australia, in the independent schools, plus they were giving us their kids. So that's why he talked about money and their kids. But over here, it's the same thing. You're giving us your kids. Or you've given us your kids. Or you will be giving us your kids. And you are going to hope that we are going to be doing the best for your kids that we possibly can. So I don't care what your income is. I understand that we go through the divorces from hell. I have called divorces months before they've happened because of the way the kids have been behaving, because the kids pick it up. The kids will tell you. There are some things that happen in my class that you don't need to know about because it's part of my managing. And if it gets to a point you need to know about it, then I'm going to talk to you because I'm a professional and that's what I'm going to do. And the more I talk to parents, the less problems I have. All I know is in a few weeks I am going to get 28 kids. Some in grade 6, some in grade 7. I have a split. I have the dreaded grade 6-7 split. Again. They tried to suck up to me this time. They told me that I was such a good teacher that they wanted me to have a foot in intermediate and keep the EQAO scores up. And I looked at the principal, who is in his first year as a job, and said, nice sucking up, won't work. I will get those kids, and they will get 110% of me. And if there are issues that are happening in their lives, then then we're going to deal with them. I hear people talk about we need more resources, we need more people, we need more this, we need more that. When I started teaching, we didn't have photocopiers. They hadn't actually been invented. Yeah, no, they did. The Gestetner, yeah. And then there was the spirit duplicator that we used methylated spirits in a non-ventilated room, and you'd come out going, oh, that's good. Anyone want me to do your printing? Okay, we didn't have that. Prior to 1990-something or other, there was early 1990s, there was internet. What was that? And I remember when we first got the internet, I was at a very prestigious school in Perth in Western Australia teaching, and the teacher librarian said to me, we have the internet, and we're going to take your class and we are going to do a search. And there was a young man who was doing a round the world sailing thing, and so she was teaching everybody, she was going to teach them about keywords and how you could find all the information and how the computer would just pull it up like this. She didn't think it through very well. She didn't put in round the world sailing, she didn't put in this. She put in his last name. So here we are at a very prestigious school early on, and the young man's first name was David, his second name was Dick. We didn't get anything about sailing. But we got a good laugh, it was pretty entertaining. Search engines have improved since then, thank goodness. But this was, and I have still reminded her of that to this day because it was sort of one of those funny moments. We didn't have to deal with social media, but now we do. Social media is a reality. What are we going to do? Are we going to ban it? No, it's not going to go away, so we accept it. So my job as a teacher, and what I want to say to you is, for many, many of my colleagues, is we get kids and we use every single skill that we have, every trick that we know in our book. We do everything we can despite changes from governments, changes from administration, changes from policies, inventions, whatever. Our commitment as a teacher, and my commitment as a teacher, is to do the very, very best I can for every student that comes into my classroom using every resource that I have. Thank you.